Hi, welcome back to the big-hearted Dachshund, and we're working the head, having got to this point here. Now I've added the sequin. There are plenty of videos in my YouTube channel to see how to put that on, and then I've worked down here. Now my plan was to take this thread, carry it through and then go back up, but change of mind, because I've noticed that this one coming from here actually goes straight to that pin in a nice straight line and goes back up. So this one that's coming down I'm going to leave with the passives, so that there are two passives, and I'm going to use that one to turn back up and see where that goes. If you've worked the torchon elephant, you'll be familiar with the strangeness of trying to figure the torchon crossings out. Now this is the one that I'm going to add in, so I'm just going to add him with a twist as a passive. So now I have two passives that you can't actually plan too far ahead. It's often better to just keep laying the threads straight along their paths to see which one wants to go where. The geometric laces do tend to tell you where they need to go, but this whole dog, of course, could be done in half stitch and it would look beautiful because the shading would come in and it would be a lot easier. So I'll probably do a half stitch one after this. Right, now we have two passives, so I need to have those two passives in, which will make the edge a bit thicker, but I think that will be better for the body. I'll also need two passives kept in the outside to grab the threads that I'm throwing in and out. So this is the thread that's coming down that we saw from up here. It's coming down and that's its natural place. So I'm going to just half stitch, pin, half stitch, then that goes back up there, and the pair from the ground does the two passives, twist, twist. I might actually make that into one twist actually, since I've got extra thickness. I'll make that into the first leg that comes out into one twist now. So the outer still has two and the inner has one. The edge will look thicker and more solid with two passives in. And taking that twist out means that there will be less of a little line around it. It will look more solid. I'll go back through those two passives and put my twist on so that I know that they are all gathered in together. Pin those away as a block. And now I've got my next pin to come along. Just quickly run along this line here. The eye, you can see the purple threads crossing the eye, and what I will do when towards the end is I will actually dab the purple thread with a little bit of permanent marker, and that will blacken the thread. So that's the next row up, and I see at the top I have now done this row here, and at the top the actual hole would be here if it was a square, but I've had to move it here to the inside. So what I will do is I will take this pair along and it will bounce and become this pair There's not much for it to do, but I'm going to do it anyway, which leaves me with having to add another pair to take that row down. Or, if I wanted to, I could utilise this pair that I've got as a double and bring him up. Decisions. Do I keep the double? I like the idea of the double because I know what's coming. I know I'm going to have to throw a lot of threads out. I think I will add an extra one there. So that is the line to come down here. Put my 2 twists up. Cloth stitch, 2 twists. I'm still on 2 twists at the top. As soon as there's a pair that's excess, I will be taking that in and making a 2 pair edge. 2 passive pair edge. But for the time being, I'll just carry on. Now I need to add one. Or do I bounce them? Is it close enough to bounce? These are the decisions. I think it's close enough to bounce. Yes, I'll probably bounce that one. So instead of adding one there, I'm going to use this one to turn round. I think it's close enough to the edge that it won't distort the pattern there. It may seem like I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to explain the decisions you have to make when you go sort of off-piste and start doing these shaped torsions, because there just is no rhyme or reason to turning them round. You just have to make your decision. It could be based on how thick your thread is, how many passives you've got in the waiting, which bobbin is about to run out of thread, how close to the edge it is. If you're using very thin thread, you may have wanted to put an extra row in there. I'm using quite thick thread, so I can get away with it. The middle bits are easy. It's all the decisions at the edges that you've got to make. I'm not a teacher, I'm not trained. I figured this out. It's just the way I do things. I like to make life difficult for myself and use the wrong style of lace for my curvy patterns, and these are the solutions that I've come up with. But you have a little break in between while you're going up and down, which lets you think about where you're going, and the relief of having got round yet another edge pin is quite good. There's a lot more to go, and by the time you're at the end, you're throwing them in and out willy-nilly without a care in the world. Now then, I've got a really nice edge pin there, but I appear to have now too many pairs to be taken into the edge, because somebody's going to have to be thrown out. So I now have four passives. That's my worker. I'll move it a little bit. That's my worker, so obviously he can't be thrown out. I have the original passive, that extra passive from earlier. This is my other worker pair, which is going to bring in not only this one, but this one, so it's two need to disappear into here. It's taking 2 in. So that's going to be very heavy duty, so I need to get rid of something. This is where your edge pairs will get thicker and thinner. So what I'm going to do is take these are the 4 passives. I'm going to take the 2nd and 4th, because they're the ones that are underneath the worker thread. So I'll take those and I'll lay them out. That means that I've only got one. I'm back to 1 passive. Take that twist off. Take these 2 in. In fact, what I'll do is I'll give them a twist and then I'll take them in. Cloth stitch through both. Twist. This is one of those decisions where maybe I'm thinking to myself, if I hadn't done that decision at the top, I wouldn't have had this many at the bottom. There is no right or wrong, you just have to think ahead. I'm going through 3 passives, 1 twist, work the edge worker, 1 twist on the inner one and 2 twists on the outer. I'll pin that, pin it in the right place. And what will happen here is I will work through, and one of those pairs will come up and make the next line, which will leave me with, there's 2 passives, there's the 3rd passive, put a twist, put the pin in line. Now this first passive comes back out with a twist and becomes a ground worker, leaving me with, that's now into the ground, leaving me with my worker pair, my 2 passives and my outer worker pair. If I'd had only 1 worker at that point, only 1 passive at that point, I couldn't have taken those 2 pairs of passives out. But because there's 2, you can take the 2nd and 4th from this side, or the 1st and 3rd on this side. You'll see yourself when you get there, it's the weaves are the other way around. So that's my workers, that's my 2 passives, that's my twist to remind me that I've done it, that's my thrown out pair, so we'll put that way out of the way. And I'm back to the torchon ground. And you basically, there's a lot of this going on, there's a lot of this throwing out going on. You work your way around the head. If you can, sort of hold your threads and see which way they're going, which ones are going to bounce. This one I know is going to go down there. All these are going to go down there. So if I take that one back up there, I can start throwing out and putting 2 passives in here, and I can choose. You really just have, there is no right or wrong way, you have to choose your own ones to throw out and which direction you want to do it. If you're getting too much at one side, start thinking about the other side. So I'll see you about the heart. Okay, bye.